सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. May the Lord protect us. May the Lord be pleased with us. May we work together with strength. May we be filled with divine energy. May there be no dislike among us. Peace be unto us and unto all beings. Good morning and welcome to this special lecture. We are extremely pleased on behalf of the temple to welcome Mataji Divyanandaprana to our temple. Many of us have been watching her lectures on YouTube and have been ardently following her ideas and thoughts. Mataji is associated with the Ramakrishna mission, especially the branches in New Delhi. And she is also the editor of the journal, English language journal Samvit, and has served as also principal of the Nivedita Vidya Mandir, and has a tremendous range of topics that she talks on Vedanta and our Hindu scriptures. And we are very fortunate to have Mataji here with us today for two lectures. One is to start right now on the Gayatri mantra, and then a second lecture this afternoon at 2 p.m. about the positive attitude in the face of difficulties. With that brief introduction, I invite Mataji to come to the stage and begin her lecture.
Om Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahiyo Tasmai Tamhadevam Atma Buddhi Prakasham Mukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Dayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur Muhur. I pronounce to the presiding deity of this temple, Lord Ganesh. Namaste to all the devotees. I'm so happy to see so many of you coming from so far away and coming especially to attend these lectures. I can see so much of spiritual thirst in the people here. So it is something very heartening to know it, because this is the general course of human evolution. Once our survival needs are met, naturally the mind hungers for something higher, and you start pursuing some spiritual path, and naturally you frequent places where there are spiritual vibrations. You associate with people who have those inclinations. You study the scriptures, you come to satsang, because we like to do it. We can't do without that. So, welcome to this gathering, to one and all. And the topic given to me today is a guided meditation and Gayatri mantra. So we will first do the guided meditation. It will be a very good preparation for our understanding of what the Gayatri stands for, what it is. We'll discuss everything about Gayatri mantra. So, may I please request you to sit straight. Yes, the back and the neck especially should be straight. Sit as still as possible. Close your eyes. Just quieten the system. Watch your breathing. When you watch your breath, you will see it will slow down, it will calm down. Just watch your breath. For the next 5 minutes, don't allow anything to distract you. These are the two most important prerequisites for meditation. Sitting straight, doesn't matter if you are not sitting cross-legged, but the back and the neck should be straight. And you must breathe very regularly, very calmly. Now, when you have sufficiently stilled yourself, I will introduce the meditation. Imagine a point of light in your heart. Imagine it strongly, a light, a divine spark flashing in your heart. This is the light of awareness, the light of the Atman, which you are. It is the real I shining within you. The I sense within us. It is to do with the Atma or the Atman. This is the light of the Atman that we will meditate upon. It is the light of awareness. It is the light of pure consciousness. It is the source of your perceptions and sensations and thought. It is the power behind your personality. It is your strength. It is the source of awareness and bliss. It is your very existence. You are this divine spark. Radiating light on all sides. This light has a name. It is called Om. We will repeat Om 5 times just to help us imagine this light very vividly in our heart. just hear the reverberation. Now imagine this point of light shining in your heart. Expand, expand evenly on all sides. And merge in the infinite effulgence of God or Brahman. The cosmic consciousness, you are one with it. Full consciousness, existence itself, bliss itself, you have become one with infinite being. Feel this to be your real identity, your unchanging identity. You are pure being, pure existence and consciousness. Everything shines through you because everything shines in your consciousness. You are the very source of life and being, existence. In your real nature, you are the Supreme One, Brahman himself, Brahman itself. That is why it is said, you are of the nature of Sat Chit Ananda Swarup. You are Parabrahman. So with this sense of ourselves, we will slowly open our eyes. Feel the peace within you. You are the source of all power and strength. It's right within you. All energy is within you. Your consciousness is the source of all your perceptions and meditations. Feel this sense of identity. That is why this meditation. This is so important because when you practice something like this every day, what happens? Our usual sense of ourselves changes. How do we usually think of ourselves? Well, we are a little dissatisfied with how we perceive ourselves, isn't it? The same old miserable self, struggling and frustrated and... No. There is an aspect of ourselves, a dimension of our being, which is always in touch with the divine. You just have to discover it. That's the beauty of Vedanta. It doesn't say you have to get it from outside. You have to do something and get it. It's already there. You must get in touch with it. Because you are the self. Are you outside yourself? Any point of time? No. Even when I am my strong ego, I am not outside the self. I just got identified with something else, that's all. So a meditation like this will help you reconnect with your true being. See, that is the purpose of sadhana, spiritual practice. In vibrant places like these, this is a temple and of Lord Ganesh. He is called Omkara Swarup. His real nature is that Om, which we meditated upon. He is another embodiment of Parabrahman, one who powerfully expresses that reality. That's why he is a God. And he is the giver of all boons. Yes, if you touch the reality within you, you will get whatever you want. You will have a body and mind which can help you achieve anything you want. So that's why he is the remover of obstacles. Because he is in touch. The complete reality is getting expressed through his body. He has become the all-powerful being. So you see, the Saguna and Nirguna aspects of life are always connected. Isn't it? This is the beauty of Hinduism. We don't seriously quarrel about whether God is with form or formless. We may have doubts initially, but it's beautifully reconciled. Isn't it? In Hinduism, that very same Parabrahman, the Supreme Godhead, whatever you call it, the reality of God, is powerfully expressed through deities. That's why they are gods. And so we have temples where we are supposed to catch that original expression, that vibration. So we are in a very powerful ambience just now. And how exactly do we catch this? There are methods and techniques. Gayatri is the most powerful technique to do it. So when I was given this topic, I was really amazed because it's very good to see so much interest in the Gayatri mantra, its chanting. It's very good to know that you are so interested, because let me tell you the fact about Gayatri. This Gayatri mantra, you may be knowing I was working and I work with IIT Delhi. I give courses there. So once we had a big course on this Vedanta and science of happiness and all that. But towards the end of the course, all the students there, they requested me to teach them the Gayatri mantra and give the meaning and help them practice it. So it came from them. And then I asked them, why do you want to know this? Because they said, Mataji, we want a practical method to realize what we have learned in the course. See how they caught it? You require a method. Reality is always there as it is. But I am not in touch with it. No, that's my problem. So I require a method. Gayatri is the direct method, the most powerful method. Because the very meaning of Gayatri is, Gayantam Trayate iti Gayatri. You chant it and it liberates your mind. Gayantam Trayate. It will liberate your mind. To what an extent, again let me tell you from the research, NRCV research on Gayatri Mantra. They did a lot of research over a period of time, and all the participants who actually were made to chant Gayatri for extended periods of time, the very neurobiology of the brain changed. The fMRI scans of those brains showed very clear, very high level gamma radiation activity with distributed phase symmetry. It means a very, very calm, stable state of mind with deep awareness generated within. Just the chanting of the mantra. So all these amazing results have come out in today's research because words have power. These syllables, these mantras, don't think somebody just made it up. Every mantra, the very meaning of mantra means mananat trayate iti, which means if you think about it, it will bring you into a state of liberation. If you just think about it. You think about, let's say, idli. Idli is not going to materialize before you. But you think of a mantra and whatever the mantra signifies will materialize in your life. How? What's the science behind this? See, this is what we will dwell upon. Why do mantras have power? Why do they become the means to spiritual elevation, spiritual transformation? Because these are not ordinary words. Do you know how a mantra is created? It is not created, it is discovered. Just like any truth of the scientific world, you don't sit and invent it, it is discovered. It was already there. Anybody invented gravity? We discovered gravity, isn't it? So also, what is already there, when your mind reaches a certain pitch, a certain elevation, you discover the truth about that. So are these mantras discovered. The Gayatri was discovered by the Rishi Vishwamitra and given to us. And is the most powerful mantra for the awakening of higher intelligence, which is very much required for spiritual evolution. Otherwise, we would be so dumb, we won't even know why we should have spiritual evolution. Aren't there people like that? So many people around you can see. Not interested in the spiritual life, very happy with survival needs. So development and enhancement of life means extension of the survival needs. That's all. The intelligence is limited to that. Gayatri will remove us out of this stupidity and help us understand the highest intelligence is that which uncovers your true nature, which uncovers the glory of your soul, which gives you immense strength from within, which gives you a luminous intelligence, which gives you dhi, which means that buddhi which takes you to God. Gayatri is a prayer for dhi, the highest intelligence, the supreme intelligence that brings you the knowledge of Brahman, the knowledge of God. So you see, the Gayatri is most powerful. First of all, it's a mantra. It's no ordinary syllables put together. It is the discovery, a way to the ultimate knowledge. And secondly, Gayatri has been used over the centuries by so many people. If you have visited Pune, Maharashtra, you will see thousands of people do Gayatri Purasharan even today. Purasharan means over a period of a fortnight you do the Gayatri in very specific numbers. number of times you keep doing it. So when it's the full moon, you start, and then when it's the new moon, it comes to a particular number. So when you do this Gayatri Purascharan again and again, your very face will change, because your brain has changed, and finally your genes will change. You will look different, you will see things differently, because you have awakened from within. So Gayatri is not a small thing, I can tell you this. That is why during the Hindu Upanayan ceremony, that 8 years of age, Gayatri is given. It used to be given. In India, even now it's given. Why is that done? Is it just a ritual? No. The higher intelligence should awaken in that child. So he knows the entire scope of human life and evolution. So that he awakens to the deeper dimensions of his being. That is why the Gayatri. It used to be given during the Upanayan, 8 years of age. When the child is 8, it is whispered into his ear by the guru, by the preceptor. Then he learns to chant it. So every day a little Gayatri goes into the system. Finally, one day you will see his very face and mind will change. Because this mantra is actually a prayer. It's a mantra come prayer for the awakening of higher intelligence. Dhi, buddhi. That dhi is a special word. It doesn't mean buddhi. It means that spiritual intelligence which gives you the highest intuitions of life. So it's a prayer for that. Dhiyo yona prachodayat. Isn't it? Now this mantra occurs in both the Rig Veda and Yajur Veda, the Gayatri. It's a Vedic mantra and there's a big story connected with it. So let me go into the story first, and then I'll come to the meaning of the mantra and how it is chanted. This story is very significant. It will teach you so much about human evolution, and it applies to every human life. This is the story of Vishwamitra himself and how he discovered the Gayatri. He discovered the Gayatri. He didn't invent it. He didn't create it. He didn't sit and think and write about it. He discovered it. So what's the story? There was this king called Kaushik, and you see, he was a great king with a huge kingdom, a huge army, and always wanting to conquer more land, more peoples, and he wanted to be the emperor, ambitious king. And by God's grace, he had everything. He had intelligence, he had physical strength and prowess. But you know, the spiritual culture of that land was such that even kings had to go down to rishis. Whenever they went to ashrams and all that, even the administrative heads of kingdoms, the kings had to bow down and take instructions from the rishis, the people who practiced spiritual discipline and had spiritual awakening. So one day when Kaushik was going home from an expedition with his soldiers, with his army, he came to the hermitage of sage Vashishta Muni, who was a Brahmajnani, a knower of Brahman. So this is a real story. And it seems he came into the hermitage, he bowed down to the rishi, and Vashishta asked him, how is everything in your kingdom? And Kaushik said, well, everything is fine by your grace, everything is going well, but I want more kingdom, more land and more power and a bigger empire. And Vashishta said, yes, it will happen, don't worry, it's coming in due course. And then Vashishta said, please rest a while and let me offer you some food and then you can carry on. And then Kaushik said, no, don't trouble yourself because I have so many men with me. Let me go back. And Vashishta insisted, no, you must have something at the ashram and then you can go back. So it so happened they waited just a few minutes and then they were immediately called for prasad, for lunch, which was elaborate. And they saw so many dishes spread out before them, 10-course meal. And how did this happen in so short a time? So Kaushik became very curious and he asked Sage Vashishta, how did you provide with so much in such a short time? And then Sage Vashishta said, my son, I have a cow, and she's not just a cow, she's a Devi, she's a divine being. She's Kamadhenu, she's Surabhi. Whatever I ask her, she will provide that in a matter of seconds. What? Can I see her? Yes, you may see her. So he took her to the divine cow, and as soon as Kaushik's eyes fell on the divine cow, he thought she should belong to me. I am the king of this, and the ashram is in my kingdom. Everything in this kingdom belongs to the king. That was the way it was in those days. So at once greed came into his mind. The cow should belong to me. Then he told Vashishta, look, I'll give you any price for this. Vashishta said, first you have the food. So then he ate to his fill, and the food was like Amrit, so delicious. Something very divine about the whole thing. So then he said, I'll pay you any price for this cow. Take all these gold coins and hundreds of elephants and all. In those days it was Godhan, cattle and all this were offered. Many things were offered, and then Vashishta said, don't make this mistake. She is a divine being, I will not exchange her for anything. And she will not stay in a place where there is no Brahma Vidya, there is no spiritual knowledge. She will not stay in such a place. So don't try to take her away from here. But Kaushik made the mistake. He asked his men to bring the cow to him, and that she was a Kamadhenu. She was not an ordinary being. She ran behind. Kamadhenu is that class of cows which were divine. And she was a Surabhi. She was a special divine cow granted to Vashishta by the gods themselves. So she ran behind the sage and pleaded with him, help me, O sage. And then at once Vashishta got enraged, angry. So he lifted up that Brahmadanda, and at once, all that huge army of Kaushik just fell down. All their weapons fell down, and then still Kaushik is ordering them, go and catch the cow. And then he raised his Brahmadanda once again, and the whole army perished. The story goes like that in no time the entire army perished. And then Kaushik was stunned. He said, what is this? How can this happen without raising a single weapon? How did he do this? And then he saw that it was the spiritual power of the sage. And then he said, Dhik balam kshatriya balam, brahma teja balam eva balam, which means the bal which I have, the strength which I have, it's of an inferior quality, and the strength which the sage has is of a far superior quality. So I will have that strength, and then I will conquer this sage and his ashram and get that cow. So he stormed out of the ashram. And he went back to his kingdom. Now only one thing in his head, that I have to get spiritual power, the kind of power which this sage has. See, he destroyed my army just like that. And so he gave his kingdom to his son and went to the forest to do tapasya just to gain spiritual power, to gain that cow. See, the initial intention was very small. Like even Dhruva's case was like that. Anything which brings you to Brahma Vidya, it's a blessing. So in his case, it was this silly thing which his greed and his ego made him do it. So anyway, he went to the forest, but when he started doing tapasya, his mind got decluttered, it became clearer. And he suddenly felt the joy of meditation. You see, in that kind of mind, do you think greed and anger and ego can persist? No, gradually all that was leaving him. But it's not that easy, because our mind is a huge something. The conscious mind is just a strip of your mind. And there's a huge subconscious and a vast unconscious. And you don't know its contents. So from time to time, the same arrogance, the same ego, the same desire will flash in his mind and trouble him, disturb his meditation. So then a lot of challenges came into his life. When this was his condition, first was the challenge of Trishanku. There was a stupid king who, it was a fancy with him. He wanted to go to the heavens with his body, in his body. Now nobody is permitted to do that. By cosmic law, you have to shed the body here, and according to your karma, you go wherever, whether to heaven or hell. You can't carry your body to heaven. But this king had taken a pledge that no, he will go to the heavens with his body, and everyone would laugh at him. So the story goes that this Trishanku first went to sage Vashishta and said, I'll give you anything, make me go to heaven in this body. And the sage just dismissed him, and he went to the sage's sons and that when your father is not able to help me, can you? And they said, you idiot, if our father says no, it means no. So go back. And anyway, he was wandering in the forest, wondering what to do, and he saw Kaushik there, sitting, luminous with his tapasya, and he saw him and said, hey, you look very bright, can you help me with something? And then Kaushik opened his eyes and said, what do you want? And he said, that sage Vashishta, he insulted me, his sons insulted me, I want to go to heavens in this body. At once Kaushik thought, Vashishta insulted you, I'll help you. You see, that's how our ego works. So I'll help you, come on. I'll send you to heaven, don't worry, in this very body. Otherwise my name is not Kaushik and whatever. So, well, the process started, whatever bal he had gained through his tapasya. You should remember this, every action has an effect. When you do tapas, you get tapobal. You get a different strength and tej, through which you can do a lot of things. So he had gained some amount of strength, this tapasya bal, and so he used it on Trishanku and tried to send him to heaven. Now this Trishanku started going up towards the heavens, okay? You can imagine how it was. And as he was going up, suddenly Indra appeared there and he said, this is not allowed. This is against the cosmic law. You can't come up with your body. So he stopped him there. And Kaushik said, well, I am sending him. Who are you to stop this? Look at the ego and the arrogance, everything coming up. And then he said, you go up. Come on, go up. And then Indra said, no, he can't go up. So Trishanku, midway, he was just stuck there. That's why it's called Trishanku Avastha, when you are not able to decide which way to go. So he was hanging upside down there, and it seems for a long time he stayed that way, because Kaushik could not help him any further. He didn't have enough strength to put him into heaven, and nobody can go against the divine law. So Trishanku had to stay there because of his stupidity, and then Kaushik understood that I have to continue my tapasya, this is not enough, this is getting me nowhere. And by this time he had exhausted his tapasya phal, the fruit of his tapasya. So he again started his very high austerity for a long time. Now if you go to the scriptures, they will say 10,000 years, because they knew the relativity of time. So they will put any number of zeros. Anyway, the point is this, for a long time he did his tapasya, and he gained a lot of power, and now he became a rishi. But the temptations are, as you ascend the scale of this ladder of human evolution, lots of subtle temptations come into life, just to draw you away from that. Brahma Vidya is no joke, the knowledge of Brahman. So now the second problem in his life came in the form of an Apsara called Menaka. So he saw her and he fell for her. At that moment of time he forgot about his goal of gaining spiritual knowledge, Brahma Vidya, Brahma Tej. He forgot all that, and he slipped into the householder's life and spent a few years with her, and she had especially been sent to divert his attention so that he is not able to get all this spiritual, because he was not yet fit. So Many years passed, he even had a daughter. You know that story. That's the story of Shakuntala. So, after a long time, when he lived with Menaka, Menaka was a celestial apsara, nymph. So, one fine day she left him and went back to her Indralok because she was the entertainer there, you see. So, now he started thinking again, what was I here for? I gave up my kingdom and I came to the forest for tapasya and I fell for this woman. What did I do? So he went back to his tapasya. But by that time, due to all these experiences, he had again exhausted all his tapasya fell, the fruit of his tapasya. So again, thousands of years of intense tapasya he did. Finally, he felt a luminous glow in his heart. His brain became crystal clear. His mind got filled with intense awareness. He felt something of what is called spiritual awakening. He could arrest his thought, his emotion at will. And he was not carried away by anything anymore. And when he was in this stage, that arrogance that I want Brahma Vidya for something left him. And in the meantime, he found he had wandered close to Vashishta's hermitage. Vashishta's hermitage, whom he had sought to challenge. And he overheard the conversation between Vashishta and Arundhati. Vashishta was telling her, I have been following the spiritual growth of Kaushik. You know, he is now having that spiritual awakening. I am silently helping him with that. And once he awakens from within, he will lose all his arrogance, ignorance, everything. His desires will leave him. And I am helping him towards that. As soon as he heard this, Kaushik was overwhelmed. He felt, and I sought to challenge this person. He is such a great mind. He is a realized soul. And I didn't even realize that I sought to challenge this for such a petty thing. I fought with him. So he entered the hermitage and fell at his feet. As soon as his head touched Vashishta's feet, see the Guru's power this is. At once the Gayatri arose in his heart. That tremendous mantra, Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodaya. It reverberated in his consciousness. And then and there he had the realization of Brahman. The complete knowledge of Supreme Truth. The Gayatri made it possible. And the touch of the Guru's feet. And then Vashishta blessed him saying, you are no more an aspirant. You are a Brahma Rishi. You are a knower of Brahman now. And you will be called Vishwamitra because you have discovered the Gayatri. You will give this to the world, and that is why you are the real friend of this world. Vishwasya Mitra iti Vishwamitra. Because you will give the Gayatri to this world. You will initiate people into Gayatri. You have now got the highest knowledge, my son. Go back to your kingdom. So it seems now he became Vishwamitra Rishi, went back, and of course he did not go back to rule. He went back, made his own ashram, had his disciples, gave them the Gayatri, and that is how the Gayatri descends and comes to us. Even today, it is the most powerful mantra for Brahma Vidya, for the knowledge of Brahman, because you know, the mantra itself is saying, O all effulgent one. It is addressed to Savitra, the sun god. The sun was the highest symbol of Brahman in the Vedic age. It's a prayer to Brahman, symbolized as the sun, to awaken my higher intelligence. O thou who illumines all the three worlds, Bhum, Bhuvas and Swa, O Varenyam, the adorable one, please awaken my Dhi, awaken my higher intelligence, so that I will have the knowledge of Brahman. I will have the knowledge of Supreme Truth, not just this little knowledge which helps me survive in this world. That is of course required. After that, this is most required for fulfillment in life. Otherwise, you know, you are only battling with your mind all your life. with the ways of your mind, there will be no awakening to the higher life without this dhi. So it's a prayer for that dhiyo yona prachodayat. Illumine my understanding, illumine my intelligence, and give me this higher knowledge. This is the Gayatri. The very mantra says this. So it's a prayer come mantra. You chant it, it will remove obstacles from your path. We are in Lord Ganesha's temple. Please remember these obstacles which Vishwamitra himself faced. Every human mind faces this. The way to remove it is again the Gayatri. As you chant it, it will remove obstacles. It will clear your mind, declutter your mind. Today in mind management, you are using so many techniques to do that, isn't it? Gayatri is the most powerful, and it is a technique reviewed by so many scientists. Just chant the Gayatri, you will get an empty mind. Isn't that fantastic? Tell me. Anything you introduce into that mind will ignite. Because now your mind has become empty of unnecessary thought and fear and worry, and it has become full of awareness. That mind, you can do anything with it. It's like a powerful weapon in your hands. You can do anything with such a mind. So the Gayatri brings you into that state. It's a prayer for that. Once Dhi is awakened, do you know what awakens within you? Prajna awakens within you. They are connected. Dhi is that higher intelligence which will fill your heart with awareness. Without awareness, there is no perception, meditation, thought, emotion, nothing. So intense awareness is generated. Medha is awakened. Medha is the power of retention or memory. High power of retention. Whatever you focus on, you will grasp and retain it. You won't forget it. Not just that, there are 5 such faculties of higher intelligence. They are called Dhi, which is the higher buddhi, Medha, Prajna. Prajna is high awareness. Then Dhriti, an immovable will. So you don't budge from your goals. You're not that silly that you just go anywhere in life. And Dhriti is this higher will, and Smriti, which is the higher memory, which means the essentials of life are safe with you. Even to a very ripe old age, you will have a vibrant memory. You will live a full life and a deep life, a fulfilling life. So this is what the Gayatri actually brings into our lives. But if we take these things lightly, see, people who don't practice are not able to understand this. That is why then they say, well, how can a mantra, how can words have power like this? You try it and you know. It's something to be done, to be known. Because it's a method, I told you. Gayatri is an actual method towards spiritual awakening. If you have Gayatri in your life, you actually don't need anything else. It is the mantra that takes you to the knowledge of Brahman. So you see, we have everything available. The essential thing is the mati to do it, to practice it. So for this to come into our lives is the most important thing. That is why the satsang and coming to temples and worship and whatever you do, it is so that your intelligence is tuned to these things. It gets the capacity to dive into spiritual practice and taste all this for yourself, because please remember, all spiritual experiences, first person experience. Somebody's experience is not going to help me. Ramakrishna Paramahams had all those experiences. What is that to you or me? Yes, I will worship him. Definitely, it's a divine thing. But it should happen to me. It should happen in me. So these are the methods for that. Are you getting it? See, this is the value of a method, of a means, of a prakriya, we call it in Sanskrit. It means it is the means to that knowledge. Don't think that Hinduism has, you just talk about the goal, about Brahman, about the Upanishads, and then there are no ways to go there. They are good ideas. They are not ideas. They are not ideas. They are experiences with people who have done this practice. Because pure consciousness, you can never have an idea of it. Can you have? Tell me. If I ask you, tell me the taste of ghee, can you tell me? Anybody? You want to try? Tell me the taste of clarified butter. We haven't invented a word to give us that taste exactly. So you can never express it. So also pure consciousness can never come into your mind, mental expression. You can't find a word for it. You can only be it. You can only experience it. And these are the ways to do that. You cannot know it as you know something, because knowledge is an objective process. You can be it. When you deepen your awareness, you become fully conscious. And the way to do it is through the Gayatri. So when you practice Gayatri, what will happen? The effect of meditation will come into your life. When you meditate, you become intensely aware without a thought process. No thoughts, but intense awareness. How to manufacture this state? Gayatri. How to clear the nonsense in our mind, which is boring us to hell, isn't it, all the time? And giving us so much pain in life. Think about it. We are constantly wanting to empty mind. You see, I work with young people in universities. They also use this language today. I just want to empty my mind. How do you do it? Gayatri. How do you acquire a stable state of mind? Calm all the time. Gayatri. How do I sweeten my emotions so that all this garbled, negative emotions don't attack me from time to time? Fear, anger, resentments. That's the poison of life. How do I save myself from that? Gayatri. How do I bring peace into homes, into my home, into my family? Somebody is not agreeing with me constantly. They don't respect me. Use Gayatri. How do I remove obstacles on my path? Even in my job, because that's the path to my spiritual, next is the spiritual life. If I don't have a good job, if I'm not earning well, how will I meditate in the shrine? I won't know what to do. So use the Gayatri. Everything in life is connected. Gayatri is the prayer for the highest spiritual fulfillment, but it will bring everything positive into your life. So don't take it lightly. I'm telling you, we practiced Gayatri for a long time. Before sannyas, that's the practice. Actually, it is the practice of Gayatri. And I can't tell you the state of mind it will produce. It will bring you into you will taste real life. I can tell you that, because you taste full awareness. Until then, you were just, it was the baby life.